back. Big news out of the White House today, which announced a new $20 billion investment aimed at expanding access to clean energy. It comes as the Biden campaign faces the challenge of improving poll numbers in crucial swing states ahead of this year's election. So let's talk about it with our friend Christopher Johnson, Senior Advisor for the National Federation of College Republicans, up late with me on the Final Five to talk about that and more. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Jim.
We mentioned that, but you've also been a big advocate for climate and from a conservative standpoint here. As you see this announcement from the White House, what's your take?
I think most normal people look at an announcement like this with deep skepticism. They're looking at $20 billion, which is just an insane amount of money. That's in the number where you don't even recognize that that's a real number. That might as well be a gazillion, right? And then on top of that, it's going to a bunch of programs that are not currently market ready. And so that builds a lot of skepticism from folks, not just conservatives, but everybody wondering, well, if this money is going to something that's going to work in the market, why isn't that money already being invested? Why does it need to come from the government? That's why conservatives need to engage on this, not by saying, hey, climate's not serious, why are we spending all this money on it? They need to go in there and say, no, we need markets to solve this problem. We need to embrace innovative solutions that are built here at home that build competition for us against China, our biggest clean energy competitor. Those are the kind of talking points that are going to matter in 2024 heading into an election, and creates a clear contrast with the Biden administration's decision today.
$14 billion of this is going to go towards low-income and disadvantaged communities for various programs. And we saw, for example, in D.C. this week, one member of council pushing for optional conversion of homes to electricity from gas-powered energy, which we know was a pretty big talker. So they're seeing this, it appears, as a matter of equity. How much does equity figure into this idea that we need to expand access to clean energy markets?
We need to expand access to all forms of energy, and the best way to create equity is to find ways to find the most efficient way to get that energy. And that's both on the environmental side of it, making sure it's as clean as possible, we're not producing a bunch of pollution, but also that it's efficient in the way that it provides energy per dollar, right? Regular folks are looking at their electricity bills and they are seeing it go up, they're seeing gas prices go up, they're deeply concerned about how this is going to affect their pocketbooks. And when they see that alongside news about all these green energy investments and all these billions of dollars from taxpayers that are going to these programs, they start to put two and two together, and that's deeply concerning for regular folks.
You know, a story that came out earlier this week, and the Washington Post had reported on this, because we're talking about this conversion, electric vehicles, which has been a big push from the White House. They want more than 50% of vehicles by 2030, early 2030s, to be primarily electric. There was a big fund set up, a big pot of money to build more charging stations. And I say this is with some interest because I do have a plug-in car. But what it came out is there were only 4 states taking advantage of that kind of money, and I believe it was about $5 billion worth. There are a lot of people that look at this and they're saying, is this the right time to make these switchovers, or should they wait?
Well, this is something that conservatives have been talking about for 100 years. So back to Friedrich Hayek talking about the knowledge problem, right? Where markets are so much more effective at figuring out what is needed at any given time in any economic circumstance. And progressives and Democrats have hated that the entire time because they want to build the society that they wish existed. But that's just not how human beings work, and we live in a free market capitalist society. So trying to force these things through on the supply side when there's little to no demand, this is the kind of outcome you get. And this is why people look to conservatives and Republicans and trust them on the economy 2-to-1 to Biden and the Democrats going into the 2024 election.
You know, it's funny though, as we look at just the market itself, and one of the strongest voices from the right is Elon Musk, who has really done more, you can argue, than anybody else in American society to put an electric car out there that people want to drive. You know, I think about some of these ugly cars in the past that were put out there. I like my car personally. However, I don't, just to put that out there, but I think it's funny just to see he was somebody who really has helped push some skeptics over the line.
No, absolutely. I mean, you can make it anything vibes correct, right? That's how people often think about these things. They're not just purely going homo economicus, where they're making all these rational decisions based on their economic interests, their ideological interests, all this kind of stuff. A lot of it's just like, man, Elon's cool, and he's making these cars, and they seem pretty cool, and I can get a little tax credit for it. It's going to be pretty popular.
Let me ask you before we go, because just as we talk about this conservative approach to many issues out there, and just to expand it a little bit more beyond energy, there were polling that came out this week that shows Larry Hogan kind of in a driver's seat when it comes to this Maryland Senate race. It's going to be competitive, but it really does show, I think, from looking at it from the right, that when you have somebody who doesn't necessarily always toe the party line on everything, it could make some inroads, and in Maryland, that could be a major coup for the GOP to flip that seat. Democrats.
Yeah, there's going to be 23 Senate seats that Democrats are defending right now, and so we need to go on offense in all of them. It's going to look different in different states, right? We're going to have to get creative in a lot of different places. Sometimes it's going to be going with a Hogan who's a moderate and who's going to drive me insane by being insufficiently conservative if he gets elected. God bless him. But you're going to also need to get more creative on a lot of issues. And I think the way that you do that is a lot of the more populist stuff, a lot of the moving further to the right, while also indirectly getting back towards where regular people are at. Folks like J.D. Vance and Josh Hawley are talking about taking on China. They're talking about the child tax credit. They're doing all these kind of things. Those kind of strategies, if you're a Dave McCormick in Pennsylvania up against Bob Casey, you don't have to move to the middle necessarily. No. You just got to get creative, moving around the edges and getting back to where people are really at.
Well, to be fair, Dave McCormick's, he may have to not just move to the middle, but move to Pennsylvania, but that's another story for another day.
Too easy.
Yeah, Chris Johnson, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks, man.
Final Five is back after this.